Get a load of this quote. This quote, I don't have to explain. It speaks for itself. Here's Mike Huckabee on the Constitution and God. I have opponents in this race who do not want to change the Constitution. But I believe it's a lot easier to change the Constitution than it would be to change the word of the living God. And that's what we need to do, to amend the Constitution so that it's in God's standards, rather than try to change God's standards so it lines up with someone's contemporary view. Wow. I mean, here is a major Republican candidate for president saying, I'm going to change the Constitution completely and have it go by God's standards. That's insane. Basically, he's saying, I'm going to turn the whole country into a different country. It's not going to be America anymore. It's going to be a theocracy, and we're going to run it based on the Christian religion. I'm going to run it by God's standards. Of course, now, we don't really know what God's standards are, and there are different religions all across the country, but of course, Huckabee doesn't give a crap about that. Huckabee's going to run it according to what he thinks is God's standards. So he's got no interest in listening to what a Muslim thinks is God's standards. A Buddhist, a Jew, who cares? He's going to run it by his own interpretation of his God's standards. I mean, look at him. He's saying in the beginning, some of my own colleagues don't even want to change the Constitution. Yeah, of course! What kind of a candidate comes up and says, yeah, I'm going to change the entire Constitution of the United States and turn it into a theocracy? Do you know how many times the Constitution mentions God? The United States Constitution? 0. Not once. The word God is not in the United States Constitution. He's going to take that Constitution, crumple it up, throw it in the garbage, and start over with a whole new thing that talks only about God, living up to God's standards. This guy is over the top unelectable. If we elect Mike Huckabee to be president of the United States, we don't have a United States of America anymore. Not as we know it. Not as we grew up. Not in the America we learned about in civics class. Not the America that we've lived in so far. He's going to turn it into a Christian country. That's exactly what he's promising. This is not an exaggeration. You heard the quote yourself. I mean, I'll give it to you one more time in case it was unclear to you. I have opponents in this race who do not want to change the Constitution. But I believe it's a lot easier to change the Constitution than it would be to change the word of the living God. And that's what we need to do, to amend the Constitution so it's in God's standards, rather than to try to change God's standards so it lines up with some contemporary view. Mike Huckabee, insane, dangerous. Now I officially have him as more dangerous than Rudy Giuliani. Would destroy the whole country. This cannot stand. I mean, Republicans, please tell me you're not that crazy. What am I hoping for? What am I wishing for? There's no way. But I think that's so over the top and crazy that he won't even win in a Republican primary. I mean, if they had any sense. The problem is the other Republicans are so busy sucking up to the Christian right that they can't tear him down for this. Because if they ran an ad against them based on this, the Christian right would be like, oh yeah, we like that. Our new Constitution is the Bible. And so if Romney or McCain speaks up against it, we shall strike you down. These people are the American Taliban, and they're so dangerous I can't even begin to tell you about it. So Huckabee has gone from bad to worse to the worst. I mean, he was bad already with the I don't believe in evolution. Then we heard about that Wayne Dumont story, the serial rapist he released because that guy had raped Bill Clinton's cousin. And he became worse and terrible and horrible. And now he wants to get rid of the whole Constitution and live by God's standards. He just became the worst candidate I've ever seen in my lifetime. How you like me now?